Hello and welcome to part two of the conversational hypnosis demonstration breakdown on healing eczema naturally. I'm Fritz, an advanced conversational hypnosis trainer and relationship coach. And so we'll dive straight into this demo. Just note that this is part two of the full demo of the actual session. So if you haven't seen part one yet, I would definitely recommend you watching that because there was a lot of things going on in that. The link will be down below for you to check that out first. But if you've already saw it, then welcome. Thank you for watching part two, and just a bit of a recap with regards to what happened. So this is me. I am the problem. I am the one with the problem, and the problem of, or symptom problem, I should say, is eczema. I've been dealing with eczema, and as you found in the previous demo breakdown, that the eczema was just a symptom. And as we got and deeper into the session, we started to find that the eczema that I was having was sort of a way for my unconscious mind to get my attention so that I can process the anger that I have had pent up and that needed to release. And at that point, we didn't really know what the cause of the sadness was, but there were a lot of themes of letting go, moving on, and feel this feeling of being tied to a string, and that I needed to just cut it off and let it go, all metaphorical talk during that. So again, if you haven't watched that, definitely watch it because this part's gonna be confusing without that. So where we pretty much ended up in the last demo session was that there were a lot of weird feelings, weird conversations about pretty much just letting go and releasing and being open to finally releasing and allowing the sadness to process. So this is a continuation. Let's just begin.
All it's trying to do is get you to listen, pay attention.
Yeah, kind of makes sense that it moved from my chest because I always I guess I go there first,
Mm.
usually. Um, but it hasn't been as heavy. I think it's like through yoga, I've been doing a lot of heart opening stuff. So it's been very kind of light down there in the
Mm.
chest. So I don't really feel heavy.
Yeah,
So I guess it found another way to get my attention.
sure.
This is really interesting how this awareness came up for me, right? I would definitely consider myself someone as fairly good at self-awareness, but we can always all get better, right? And going back to the theme of sadness, and it is true that when I feel sad, I mostly feel it in my chest. In my body, that's usually where I know. And so when now in that previous clip where my jaw and my teeth were quivering, I didn't know that that would mean sadness. And this really goes to show how it is very unpredictable what the mind does. And it's always not a good idea to always assume. And this has to do with our clients as well, right? I know that there are modalities out there that say if you feel heaviness in your chest, that it means it's sadness. While a majority of people will probably feel that way, there is going to be a minority of people who won't. And what if that's your client who don't fit into that mold? So, one of the biggest principles of ACH is to really not put our clients into a box and just remain curious as to what could happen. I mean, I even did this myself. I put myself into a box and thinking it's not sadness. If the previous clip, I thought it was anger, but it's not anger, it's sadness because I've already made conclusions about myself already that were not true, instead of just really just listening to what my unconscious had to say, which was I do feel sad and it needs to be released. So somehow my unconscious find its way to express itself through using the eczema, and having the eczema as a means of me paying attention to it. And so, this is just very interesting, and it's a big side note, but again, with our clients, we can, we've learned X, Y, Z, and even maybe A to Z in the previous modalities that we've previously trained in. And sometimes when we falsely assume something, like if Shabnam were to be like, okay, so if it's in the jaw, maybe you are angry. Are you sure you're not angry? Sometimes grinding teeth is associated with something like anger, right? But for me, it was shivering. It was like the little girl, like kind of pouting right before they cried. It was the symbolism that my body personally gave me. And so, long story short, never ever assume. Allow your client to put the puzzle pieces together. And as you can see, things are starting to click with me here a little bit, as I started to process. And at the end of the previous clip, you can see how much processing I actually did. And then now I said, well, it makes sense that this happened, because I normally wouldn't have felt sadness anyway. So my subconscious needed to give me, or yeah, and it needed to get my attention in a different way, which is very sneaky, very intelligent, but
It is, isn't
very sneaky.
it?
The other finger, like the finger that I don't normally pay attention to, which is the
Yeah.
right one. In my jaw.
Yeah. It moved somewhere else, didn't it? So you
Mhm.
pay attention.
Really, how to best describe it?
Because you can't
Describe
really,
it right. That feeling of sadness moved somewhere else to get my attention, because um I wasn't feeling it there. It had released. And so, that feeling is still very much prominent. So it decided to move elsewhere, because to get my attention in some sort of way. They're really fascinating.
ignore it, can you?
Because my attention would have been on my chest, which is not, where it's stored.
How's your jaw right now?
Still shaking.
Well,
And because we're nearing the end of the session, Shabnam is starting to do some testing questions, which is really great to talk about here. And something that is kind of like a get out of jail free card if you're in a session with a client and you kind of don't know what to say. The best thing to do for them is the best thing to do for yourself really is just ask them how they're feeling. So in this case, she asked me how my jaw was to see if there's anything else happening there, and then it just it allowed me to fill in the blanks. And if you're stuck, it helps you to go a different route. Not saying that that's what happened here, but this is just a quick ACH tip.
why are you holding it like that? I
You
was just
got
asking.
me. No, because now it's like more my jaw, not just my teeth. It's like my jaw now shaking.
Yeah.
Somehow I think it's going to dislocate.
I think that really would happen.
No.
Mm.
Just trying to consciously control it.
Yeah. That doesn't help, does it?
This is like a very common theme that all of our clients have, and just life in general, right? We try to really control things that are not supposed to be controlled by us, and really just trusting our intuition and, our subconscious to know exactly what needs to be done, because we feel uncomfortable about it. That theme showed up in the first clip, but in this clip, right? I obviously my jaw was still quivering and was trying to hold it, and in an attempt to control it consciously. But the subconscious is smart enough to know not to dislocate my jaw. Right, like it's, our unconscious, will always protect us. So logically, it's not gonna dislocate my jaw. It's just an uncomfortable feeling that it needed to do. It's an uncomfortable thing that it needed to shake shit out of whatever it is that I held here. Um, and so, this is just life lessons in general. And for your clients, when you see them trying to like manipulate things and trying to change things, right? Call them out on it, just like kind of what Shabnam did, and she did it, very nicely. She was just like, I'm just curious, and if you approach it that way, it's friendlier. And at the same time, it draws their attention in there because then now they can gain more insight with regards to it. And in this session, I definitely gained insight as to me still trying to control things. And this is obviously something that is a work in progress for me and probably will always be a work in progress for me. And a lot of people, right, trying to control it, having a type A type personality and wanting to control things. And, sometimes it's good that we have some awareness to know that we are trying to control outcomes that are not in our control, which is unconscious with regards to the jaw, and just kind of allow it to happen and shift because nothing is ever permanent. So this is just like a great life lesson, and for you to notice within your clients where they're trying to hold it in or like they're trying to hold their breath in, that is an unconscious or a conscious moment too that can be unconscious, and that is something that you want to notice within your clients and point out when it does happen, because a lot of gold and a lot of learning within your clients manifest from that.
Trusting your body knows what it needs to do. And just naturally stop when it needs to.
Or processing.
It's just doing its thing.
Trusting the body.
Is.
And what's interesting now, looking back, right, Rich Shabnam said, trusting that the body knows what it needs to do to heal, is very much that is an amazing thing, an amazing theme for this whole session. And with the eczema, right, just trusting that the body just knows how to heal the eczema. And like I said, it's already 3 weeks time, and since this session, and it's 99% healed. So obviously I unconsciously learned from this session to trust my unconscious more, to know that it knows exactly what it needs to be doing in order to heal, because we know that our body can naturally heal itself, right? More unconscious moments here with coughing or burping. Burp something out. There.
Yeah, you do like doing the burps, don't you? Burp it out.
Burping is another unconscious moment, right? Like there is no reason for me to burp right now. I've been talking to Shabnam for the last half an hour. I have not eaten anything or done anything. So it's very unusual for me to gain that desire to burp unconsciously. And so these are the things that you want to look for, right? Like burping is so random. Coughing a lot is something that I do in ACH sessions. That's just how I form into trance. I cough and release a lot that way. And so this is, one of the things that you do want to notice your clients. I mean, it's different if your client has, a chronic cough or like a flu or some sort of respiratory type illness and they cough. That's kind of to be expected. But in just, I was not really sick here. But I am coughing and burping and doing all of these weird unconscious things. This is really how you know that your session is also working, because your clients are doing or manifesting these unconscious moments that seem like it doesn't make sense and out of context, but it's an unconscious process is showing up based on you talking to them, right? Which is really fascinating too.
Men, huh?
Like, okay, now I feel like I'm joking, but it's like, okay, they're completely unconscious process. It's like a string trying to.
Yeah.
Like if you like swallow like like hair,
Yeah.
you swallowed hair accidentally. I
Mm-hmm.
have, and it's like trying to come out
Yeah.
string.
If you've got somewhere you can let it out.
So this is very unusual for me to see and for you to probably witness as well. In the previous demo, you saw that, or I was talking about strings, right? And I was also talking about cutting hair, cutting my own hair. And now I've brought it back here, and somehow my unconscious has associated all of these things. And now it's trying to, I'm literally dry heaving here, which is like the weirdest thing to see. Dry heaving this metaphorical hair or string out. And it might seem very freaky watching this, but I was completely safe here. And Shabnam obviously did a great thing in just keeping me safe and allowing this natural process to occur. But it's not unusual for your clients to also display these types of things. And it's cool that, we caught this in a demo where I'm like trying to dry heave. I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll see exactly what happens afterwards. But yeah, just observe this
Look,
really crazy
yeah.
unconscious moment.
Your body always gets rid of stuff it doesn't need. Right.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was doing with my jaw. It's like mobilizing.
Getting ready for this.
Okay.
Oh dear. So is it out yet, or is it still coming? Oh
Come
dear. There you go.
and that part there was like fun, right? And we made it funny, we were laughing, but to be quite honest, while I was sitting here, I remember just like really feeling nauseated and needing shit to come out. And that really just kind of encompasses the whole metaphor of this problem that I have, right? Moving on, letting go, letting the string out. It's like my body metaphorically letting whatever it is that I have go, whether that be like old stored emotions, or like I said, whatever it is. It's 3 weeks now. I don't even have a conscious explanation for this, but again, I don't care because my eczema healed. And obviously, my subconscious needed to do this in order for the eczema to heal, and for me to let go of whatever it is that I need to let go. Great thing about Zoom now is that it actually mutes extraneous noises like coughing. I'm definitely coughing things out here, but you can't hear it. It was very violent coughs, dry
Wow.
heaves.
Is it out?
No, just a little bit still.
Well, take your time. There's no rush.
And Shannon did a great job in allowing me just to take my time and not rush, making me feel safe and not rushing the process. And this is a great thing to do for all of your clients, right? You might be sitting there and you're probably like, what the fuck is happening here? This is very typical for conversational hypnosis sessions. But really just allowing your clients to do whatever it is that they need to do is super important. And obviously, I needed to dry heave the heck out of whatever it is that I was holding onto in order to let it go. So, just allow your clients, remind them that they're safe, remind them that they don't have to rush it, that you will be there for them, create safety, that creates rapport, that prevents an abreaction from happening, and just allow your clients to and their subconscious to do it. Just let it go.
There you go. Well done.
Just a little bit up here.
Mm. So take your time, let it out. There you go.
And here Shabnam is saying things like, there you go, just let it out. These are process instructions, and these are things that can just help your clients to know that you are there for them. Kind of like what I mentioned a bit earlier. This is so weird because when I was younger, when I would get sick and have like lung infections, I would hate coughing so much. Like I would suppress my cough. Or like I'd swallow my phlegm, which is really gross.
Mm.
Like I just didn't like letting things out.
Yeah.
And this is really interesting, right? I've had that moment of like dry heaving, completely unconscious moments and complete coughing. And then this thing came up of this generalized thing that I said about when I was younger, I didn't like letting shit out. And that's completely true. I would suppress my cough. I didn't want to let it out. And so this is kind of just like I'm not really sure whether it's the mind and the stuff that I pent up from when I was a kid coming up now to be released. It could be that. Like I said, I don't have any conscious explanation, which is fine because the unconscious processing worked in my favor. But this is really interesting, and just something to notice with your clients when it's always the response that we look for in ACH, right? So when they have this big unconscious moment, what pops up? And just allow your clients to put the puzzle pieces together, talk it out, and experience that moment, because that is what's going to help repattern and rewire their mind. Although in a very weird way, as you can see here.
Let it out. There you go. It's a bit gross to keep it in, isn't it? It's just let it out now.
Gross.
It is gross. Just let it out. You don't want to keep that gross stuff inside.
Oh,
Take your time and get it all out.
what Shabnam said there about getting it all out is another really good process instruction to use. Uh, just to make sure it's pretty much like an indirect suggestion to tell the subconscious mind to, you're already doing all of this, you're releasing all of this, make sure you get all of it. So that whatever it was holding on to gets released, right? It's a really good process instruction to have. And process instructions are good to use only when you see unconscious moments, which is exactly what is happening here.
There you go. All that gross stuff out.
Like I mentioned before, is um this is fairly typical for clients to do these things, right? Whether it be coughing, whether it be just it being teary, whether it's just like really exhaling and sighing a lot of things get released. A lot of unprocessed emotions get released within these ACH sessions, depending on the client. But there are going to be times within your sessions where all you're doing is just watching your client release, kind of like what Shannon did here with me. And it is just up to you as the hypnotist and coach to just, okay, like really watch your clients here. This is a time in the session where your eyes should not be leaving your clients, just in case they get into an abreaction. And abreaction drills and how to deal with that is something that we teach in the ACH trainings. And so knowing and paying close attention to your clients during this time is crucial. Like have pneumonia or something. Ugh.
How's it all out? No.
Just as a heads up, I was not sick at all before this. I only had the eczema to deal with. There was no like cough or flu type symptoms before this, no COVID or anything like that. All of this coughing and dry heaving came only during the session.
No, there's still some there.
A little bit. It's like it was down here. Now it's like up here. It's right here.
Yeah. Let's get that out as well, then might as well get it all out, all the gross stuff.
Again, she's just repeating stuff that I said, right? Like I described it as gross. So she's using the
Okay.
exact same words I'm using and just using process instructions throughout.
Is that it?
See. Hmm.
There you go. Nice and easy.
It was a great suggestion that she said, just nice and easy because it was starting to get quite violent. And so that's also a good process instruction or suggestion to give your clients when it feels very aggressive when whatever they're releasing. You can definitely use that type of process instruction to just say, okay, that's okay. You don't have to go that deep and that far or that aggressive um with whatever it is that you're doing. Just take it nice and easy, take your time. Those are really good process instructions to have, just so it's like a slightly pleasant experience for your clients. But this is completely up to you and your comfort level. Hmm. Hmm. So the whole part that just happened there, me coughing, dry heaving, letting it all out, this part is the actual therapeutic process of the whole thing. And this is exactly what I needed to do. And this part here is what, as weird as everything has looked throughout this entire session, this part here, it was the part where the catharsis and the therapeutic things actually happened. And it's really fascinating. This is going to look very different for each and every person. If I were to film a next session with me, it's going to look completely different from this as well, even if it's the same person. And so, these are just the things that you want to be aware of. And just because, you have a client who coughs, or you have five clients in a row that have coughed so much and dry heave, doesn't mean your next client is going to be. The biggest ACH principle is just to meet a client where they're at, right? And so if they want to dry heave, they can dry heave. If they want to cry, they want to cry. If they want to laugh, they laugh. If they want to tell stories, allow them to tell the stories, right? It's a very, very flexible approach, which is why client resistance, both conscious and unconscious, isn't as prominent in ACH compared to other hypnosis modalities because you're really meeting a client where they're at and you are allowing their unconscious to reveal itself without telling it what to do. All good.
Yeah, all gone. You
My
sure?
jaw is just like my jaw slowing
Mm,
down.
yeah. Any of that growth stuff still left there?
It's
See?
like it's not stuck anymore. It's like it's moving. Like it's gonna excuse me.
Okay.
There. That was it.
Hmm. How's that feeling now?
This is where the actual testing process begins, right? And so like I said, that whole dry heaving, doing all of that stuff, the coughing, was the actual therapeutic process that needed to happen. And so now Shabnam's now testing to see how I feel. Asking how I'm feeling. There's still a little bit left. So obviously it's not done. My unconscious isn't done. And just testing can be very, very easy. And it's just as simple as asking, how are you feeling now? Just so you have so you know if the mind still needs to process a little bit, or if your session is done and it has worked. Much better.
Yeah. How's your jaw?
Stop covering.
Yeah. You didn't even touch it.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah. Stop quivering when it's done.
Mhm. It's done.
It's done. How you feeling?
A lot lighter.
Yeah. Wow. That was a lot of crap you had to get rid of.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of like it's not like I had any like lung issues or anything, but it's just a lot of like it feels like a lot of phlegm was stuck like up here, like at
Right.
the top of my lungs.
And it's all gone now.
It's not stuck anymore. It's like
Coming out.
it's moving, coming out.
Mm.
It's good.
Yeah. So what about that string?
So these are testing questions. She's just asking me to make sure that the things I don't feel it. Are still present, which is, a great thing to do for your clients, right? If they've given you the metaphor, kind of like this string, ask them where that string is now to see if, there has been any changes with regards to how the mind has perceived this string. And the thing with something like eczema, right, it's hard to actually test it physically because it's a physical, something like it's a physical illness. But what Shabnam has done well with this is that she knows that the metaphors are good things to test on because it is the metaphors really that have caused the eczema to be there, right? Those are the associations that my mind has made with regards to the eczema. So by testing those metaphors, it allows us to make sure that that there's some progress that has been made and that we have set the parameters for my subconscious to process and start healing. Mm. Mm.
Is it gone?
It's definitely not up here anymore. Like it's not stuck anymore. So yeah,
So
it's
is it
gone.
still attached to you?
Nope.
It's not attached to you. So
And you can
does that
see
mean
the
you've let it
uncon
go?
And you can see the unconscious nods, right? Like with me saying like nodding. No, no. Um, no, nod is like this, or shaking my head. I've been saying that wrong the entire time, but like I'm shaking my head. And so that means no. And and because of that, that's also proof and test that my unconscious is saying no, like strings no longer there.
How do you feel about that?
It's good. I think it I needed to let it go. It wanted to leave.
Did you want it to leave? So how do you feel now then?
I actually don't feel sad anymore.
You don't feel
So
sad, but you said you didn't want it to leave. So
this is very interesting, right? Because the whole theme of the eczema was sadness, and now I'm saying I don't feel sad anymore. And this is a drastic difference to the very start of the session, where even just the me saying the word sad gave me a lot of emotion. And you can see now the very um tangible change where it was like, no, I'm no longer sad. Like it's processed itself out already, which is great. And now Shabnam is doing some harder testing on me, which is another process that we teach in ACH, where you gradually test your clients harder to make sure that that not only the session has worked, and number two is that um, you make sure that the new resources that our clients find unconsciously is more robust, and we do this by testing.
why aren't you sad?
I think the sadness has passed.
Okay. And if you didn't want it to leave and it's gone, how do you feel?
Great testing question. Indifferent.
Indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, the string's gone.
Not good or bad, it's just gone.
Gone.
Mm.
And indifference is a
I
great
mean,
thing.
it
It had no use there anyway.
No, there was no label on it, was there?
No.
And just hanging there with no
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. It's just holding on to it unnecessarily.
Mm.
You can see the actual difference in how I'm answering the questions. I'm definitely more sure there's a bit of a bit more glow to my face considered compared to earlier on in the session, right? And after just being different and talking about it in this way, you can tangibly see the difference in the delivery now of answering the question. It's very much more assured. It's pretty much like we're done. Like everything is done, the problem is solved. And this is what you really want to notice with your clients by the end of the session. And you really see this with testing. And I am here making my resources more robust by saying, no, like we're done. The string is no longer there. I feel indifferent about it. I needed to let it go. It's a very much like a very self-assured way. I'm giving myself a self-assurance that I got this. I know exactly what to do, compared to earlier on in the session where I was like I'm just letting go. I just don't want to let it go. I'm holding on to stuff. Like it's a very different emotional shift that has happened within the session. So I
So what
felt
about,
sad.
are you sure?
That was in the past. I
Sure
felt
about that?
sad, so I held it. I
Mm.
decided to hold on to it. Hmm.
And how do you feel now?
Hmm. My jaw stopped completely. Can feel more space in my lungs, in my nose.
Mm-hmm.
to breathe.
It's good to be able to breathe. How are the teeth feeling?
They're not moving, so they're just there.
Just doing what teeth do, looking nice.
Yeah, just there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How's a finger?
It's funny because it got more red like in the middle, or like a bit earlier. It's calmed down now a little bit.
It needs time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't need to get your attention now, does it?
No, paid enough attention.
What's going on with the jaw?
Nothing.
You sure?
This is good because Shabnam picked up something really interesting. I was kind of like, as you can see now, I'm doing this, so I'm still doing something with my jaw, and my body is like trying to do this still unconsciously, right? So she was like, "Are you sure there's nothing else going on?" And so I'm thinking again. Nope, it's just still in there. But this is the type of testing things that you want to do, right? You want to create some a doubt a little bit within your clients to prove to themselves and to have them think of any more knots or any more so any more knots that come up um so that you can work on it still during the session if they do come.
So there's no string.
Pardon?
There's no string left. There's nothing.
No. No string. No sadness.
No sadness.
Maybe a little
Good.
bit of anger.
Anger. Wow.
Now I'm clenching.
Hmm?
Like now I'm clenching my teeth.
Right. What's that? What's that?
So this is exactly why we test, right? So as you can see, I said that there's no more sadness, and now this new anger came up, and now my teeth are clenching. This is the exact reason as to why we test. Is it's because of these things that are still in knots in our clients' minds that could potentially unravel the session that we did. And so if this didn't get caught now that Shabnam brilliantly caught then this anger could have potentially unraveled the amazing work that she had done already. But because we are talking about it now, it gets fixed now during the session. And this is why I believe ACH is so fast because it really prevents future sessions. There were so many themes here that happened that were dealt with in less than an hour. And because of this testing process, this new thing, potential problem came up of being angry that is now going to be resolved because we tested.
What can I do? You clench your teeth.
I'm angry about something.
Well, you better figure that one out then, don't we? Other finger to start, do we?
So
Yeah.
this is so funny, right? Like this is exactly what I just said about her saying you better deal with anger now because then the left finger, which is your anger fuck you finger, is going to start. So this is phenomenal, right? Phenomenal catch. See, now that I'm coughing up again, and
No,
you
I'm
can
just
kind
angry that I didn't listen sooner.
and you can kind of hear even before during the testing that I was trying to clear my throat a little bit. It was kind of like I guess a sign of my subconscious mind saying there's still a little bit, like there's this little bit of anger, let's deal with it.
Anger that you didn't listen sooner. Listen to who?
myself.
Mm.
The eyes again.
But you listened.
Yeah, much faster than I have ever been.
Yeah. So,
I'm
what are
just
you
being a
angry
brat.
about? Hmm?
I'm just being a brat now.
So you're angry because you're being a brat.
Should have listened sooner.
Told you so.
We just see how much fun this gets to
Yeah,
be,
but I did
right?
listen much faster than I would have in the past.
Didn't
So,
leave it too late, did you?
no, I
Lesson
mean,
learned.
exactly. And I mean, this like went really fast too. Like
Mm.
this signal came up very fast.
And you noticed it.
Hmm.
You didn't just ignore it and keep scratching it, did you?
No,
No. You noticed
yes,
it, you got the call.
yeah,
You acted fast, really.
pretty fast.
Mm. Still angry?
It's easing down now.
Yeah. It's all right to get a little angry, isn't it?
Yeah,
And let it pass.
yeah. Maybe that. I think it's past now. It was really
Yeah.
fast.
So, how you feeling?
So that's just that last little bit was just me like kind of reprocessing and solving my own problem with regards to the anger and just kind of like I guess reassuring myself that yes, you can okay, it's okay to be angry. Um, but it got caught very, very fast, and that was the reassurance that Shabnam also gave me. And just finally some more final testing questions here and how you know that I processed that information was because after we talked about the anger, I did this little like it wasn't little, it was actually a big like sigh out, right? Like I was able to just let it go, let the anger go.
Like I can breathe. I'm a little tired.
Yeah. Well, breathing's good. Keep doing that.
I'll try.
Please do. I think you're good at it. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. And of course you're tired. That was quite a bit of work, wasn't it?
A lot of coughing.
Hmm.
I'm fueling the rocket ship, the blimp.
Yeah. Launch off.
Yeah. Launch off like the little tiny string.
Wow. So time for some rest, then I take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good nap.
Sounds like a good idea. So just checking in again then. What are you feeling right now?
I feel calm and at peace.
That's lovely.
Hmm.
Mm.
So, this last part here is really just putting the pieces together, right? Like really it seems repetitive to be like, how are you feeling now? How are you feeling now? But this is really important because you want to make sure that your client has all the bases, right? Has now come to this place where they can process.
Calm and at
It's good.
peace.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. Very good place to be. And it's Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
So good time to wind down. Do you think you'll take a nap straight after this, or have you got things
Probably.
planned?
I'll probably take a quick like half an hour
Yeah.
and go outside.
What's the weather like there right now?
It's actually really good. It's like summer.
You're
Like
telling me you
19.
don't have snow?
It's like 20 degrees.
What?
Yeah. So I'm
Wow.
going outside.
Definitely take advantage. You don't get that every day around there.
Nope. Not in mid-April, that's for sure.
Mm. Wow. Sounds like a good plan. Nap and then go out and enjoy the sunshine.
So this last part here is actually very important. That like that little small talk about the weather is what we call demarcation in ACA. So what you want to do at the end of your sessions is to um give a client a conscious task, right? So for me, it was the nap, which is what I suggested, and then going outside after your ACH sessions, you want the client to be doing something consciously so that the unconscious has time to process all the information and it doesn't get distracted, and the conscious mind is left with something to do. And also the conversation about the weather is a more of a conscious conversation, right? A demarcation is pretty much just separating the session, and it make sure that the client's conscious mind is back in action, because as you saw pretty much the whole session, it was very, very unconscious, and now we're bringing the conscious mind back into place. And one way to do that is to talk about something conscious, like completely something different, like the weather is a good one. And I remember this, it was a very weird time in mid-April where it was 20 degrees. It was really, really good, but it's something good to talk to your clients about, right? So after your session, you can do the weather thing. If you're sick of the weather talk, find something different where you can just put your clients conscious, where you can ask a client a question to bring their conscious mind back up, ask them a very conscious question. And so this is pretty much the end of this session. As you can see, I look very much calm and at peace. I'm pretty much lying, at the beginning of the session, I was like pretty much like fairly agitated all the way up here, dry heaving, coughing. And at the end, you can see me kind of lean back and relax and be at peace with everything, which is honestly a great place to be, right? Like who wouldn't want to be more calm and at peace, which is exactly what I said there. That makes sense after letting a lot of that shit go, whatever the hell I tried to do there. And so this is very, very interesting to look back with this session, right? A lot of things going on, especially just with this in part two, and a lot of things happened in part one. And expect this for any ACH session where it goes kind of like a roller coaster. It goes all over the place, but it is so much fun. As you can see, it's fascinating. It's amazing to be on the other side. And as a client here, this was a great experience for me. Of course, that there was a lot of breakthroughs, but being a hypnotist here doing an ACH session, as you can tell throughout the whole thing, Shabnam barely said anything, right? Like I talk a lot. And if Shabnam did talk, she used my own language to talk and facilitate the transformation. I did all the subconscious healing work. She did not have to read a lot of scripts. I mean, if you looked at the whole session, how can you script that? How can you add an eczema script for that when I talked about things like strings, hairs, Barbies, moving on, letting go, blimps, and and all of these things, having chest infections as a child, you simply cannot script anything with regards to client transformations. The best thing we can do for our clients is just allow them to come up with the crazy shit that they're going to come up with, right? This was a very amusing session with all the stuff that I came up with, like vomiting strings and hair out like the ring style, right? Like Like, I don't know where that came from. But it's really, that's why I love ACH so much because it is so much fun. And it's very unpredictable. It spices things up. No one session is going to be the same as your other sessions, not even the same person. And going back to being the client, and let me give you some insight now that it's 3 weeks later. As I mentioned in the previous video, the previous part one breakdown, um, the actual resource came up as to why I was feeling sad 3 days after this call. So maybe like 3 to 4 days was when I had the aha moment. And in ACH, we call that the natural emerging phenomena, where all of a sudden you just get an aha moment, um, right in the like randomly at a random time when you're not really thinking about something. Whether like some people say in the shower they have these aha moments. Some people say when they're in the toilet they have these aha moments, or in the car or something like that. Right? These natural emerging phenomena came up, and for me. It came up fairly randomly. I remember just walking through the hallway of my house, and then that aha moment popped up of this is exactly why I'm sad. And so, like a little bit of a context, what I initially thought was was anger, right, or sadness, and I thought that it had to do with my divorce. It's being finalized now, and although I do feel sad about that, that actually wasn't it. Like that emerging phenomena that I experienced 3 days later was really just me feeling sad about leaving my friends and family because I'm about to do the digital nomad thing and travel. So it's about sort of feeling sad and letting the people who I love go, really. And that's what I was holding on to. That's what I was sad about, um, of leaving my loved ones as I go into this next chapter of my life. And so that was something that I didn't realize. I like it makes sense that I would be sad about it, but again, as humans, we consciously just make conclusions, and sometimes it's a false conclusion. And my false conclusion was the fact that or what I thought it was going to be regarding my divorce, but it actually had nothing to do with that. It had something to do um, with leaving my friends and family as I go into this crazy digital nomad life over the next few months. And so that was the true root cause, let's say, of this eczema. And of course, afterwards, a few weeks afterwards, the eczema is completely healed. I know you can't see it, but there's definitely pictures that I will post as proof with regards to how fast it healed. And so this is it for this ACH breakdown session with regards to healing eczema naturally. Let me know what your thoughts are with regards to this. This is extremely fascinating, and I'm sure when you see this and you're not exposed to something like ACH, you're going to be like, what the fuck is happening? Which is completely normal. And some sessions are pretty much just like, what the hell is going on here? Because it's just the unconscious mind doing its thing, right? Doing the associations, doing the talking. And at the end of the day, as hypnotists, especially if this method is what you want to use, your goal really is to get the clients to become more unconscious than conscious. And for this, I was unconscious for a very long time. But there are some sessions where I'm unconscious very quickly, maybe just 5 minutes, and I'll just talk through things. So again, it's very different. And so I hope you enjoyed this. I definitely did. And if you have any questions at all with regards to the breakdown, with regards to the unconscious moments, testing what has happened here, let me know. And I will see you soon.